Welcome to the At a Total Loss podcast, where real life lost moms talk about stillbirth, baby loss, grief, survival, and all things in between. I'm Catherine, a lost mom to my beautiful son Brody, who died at full term and was stillborn in January of 2022. I had no idea what to do after his death, and I thought the sadness was going to kill me. So I immediately reached out to other lost moms to try to find somebody who knew how I felt. And it was these conversations that saved me, and I hope that they can do the same for you. We talk about everything. I even interview support people and partners, people who have another perspective on what this life of loss is like. So here we are, you guys. Pull up a chair, maybe grab some tissues, shoot, maybe even a glass of wine, as we hash out what life looks like after the death of your baby and all the things that leave us at a total loss. So what's going on over at your house?
My husband literally just walked in the door and he's cooking dinner.
That's amazing. What's he cooking?
Chicken and probably like carrots or potatoes or something.
You guys must go through a lot of groceries.
So many groceries.
Because you have like teenage boys, right?
Yeah. So my oldest is my stepson. He's 18 and he's in college in Montana. And then my oldest is 14. He just turned 14 last week. And then I have a 12-year-old girl, 8-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy. And then we lost one after him. And then I have a 2-year-old boy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was, how long ago was that?
Her third birthday would be February 11th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk to you because we met. Okay, so backstory for you listening. Faryl and I are both in Atlanta, and we met through a mutual lost mom because you are an angel and you are a photographer, but you have said yes to going in and taking photos of stillborns, as well as you've also done NICU deaths too, right? Have you done all of that?
I have done NICU deaths. I've done miscarriage, stillborn, all of it.
So you go into the hospitals and you take photos, which I wish I didn't have you. I didn't know someone like you existed. And so in the time that I had, I just, it felt so weird to take photos of him.
I know.
Yeah. So I really wanted to kind of give you some praise because we're going to get into it. I know how challenging this is, but you take one for the team and you go in because you know how much it's needed and you are one. So what I like to do is kind of, you have a mission, you have a purpose, and you have a story that I want you to tell, but I want you to start as far back as you want to so that we can get some context as to how you got here. And I love to hear about the pregnancies and how Daphne was before she was born, and kind of give us some background and as much detail and as far back as you want to go.
Okay. I was a very young mom. My first one, I was 19. Well, I had turned 20 right before I had him, but kind of on my own. Dad wasn't involved, never met him, that kind of thing. And then so I kind of just figured out. I always knew I wanted to be a mom. Like all my family says from when I was a little kid, like I always was like, I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to have 6 kids. I'm going to do this. And like, I always knew it. I always knew I wanted a whole bunch of kids. So like when I got pregnant and it wasn't ideal, like I still was like, okay, this wasn't what I pictured, but this is what it'll be. And I kind of made it work. Lots of support from family and the government at first. But after, like, I actually worked in hospice first. That's where I worked in a hospice. And I started having more children, and like the office life, it was good, but like I knew I wanted to do more, and I knew I wanted to pursue photography. I had always loved photography. I had grandfathers that were photographers, in like World War II. Like I
Oh,
always grew
wow.
up around it. And like I told myself I wasn't gonna say like. Sorry, I already said like.
Oh, girl, I will edit that. You're good. Don't worry. Everybody has filler words. It's so funny. And you don't even know it until you listen to it again. You're good.
But no, I forgot where I was.
You've always wanted to be a photographer. Your
I knew I wanted to be
grandfathers
a
were World War II.
photographer.
Yeah.
And I've always had like a passion for motherhood. Like that has always been a passion of mine. And I kind of went into photography in the pursuit of documenting motherhood. And then I got a job at a hospital as a newborn photographer with Bella Baby. And so I've been with them a little over 7 years. And so I like was around all of this loss, photographing babies for them. So I was around it before I even ever had my own loss. And I had several babies, like while I was working for them. I would have a baby, take some time off, come back, continue working. And like I always like had a passion for those lost photos and thought it was like, wow, this is the best photos they will ever have of their kid. Like that is like all they'll ever get to look at later is whatever they took on their phones and then whatever I took for them. And so like I really like that was one thing I was just like, this is where I need to be. I want to make this better. And after I had my own loss, it kind of changed the way I saw it. And like I felt grief just doing those photos before I ever experienced it. But like seeing it through those eyes of like knowing what that's like to leave the hospital empty-handed kind of a thing. It was different. My loss was slightly less than 20 weeks. It's a miscarriage. And like sometimes like I know it's not as bad as what everyone went through, but I still didn't get my baby. And it's still a loss and it still freaking sucks. I delivered her in my bathroom in my house. And like just being home, I'm using my bathroom every day. Like we're probably gonna move soon. But
that's hard. Oh my goodness. Such a constant reminder.
Yeah. But I don't like I used to grieve for the babies before I had my own loss. And now it's just like I know where those babies are. They're okay. But like the moms, those are the ones that we're all left. And it sucks. And so I kind of just
how soon after did you jump back into photographing these babies?
A couple weeks.
Wow, girl.
I literally, my first day back was a loss. And
oh my goodness. Did you tell the parents that you knew what they were going through? No.
I think I turned off my brain and just did what I knew how to do. And then I lost it right afterward, like walking out the door. But I don't think I could have told them. I don't think I would have been able to handle telling them. Like I really was so scared about going back to work and photographing babies. I was scared about photographing families because newborns is my main breadwinner. Like I photograph newborns all the time in my own business, like for that company, all of this. And I was so scared. But like right when I walked in, I was like, that's not my baby. It was really, really weird to realize that it didn't affect me as much as I thought it would.
So you had grief feelings, but you didn't get struck with like envy or anger towards the parents who had living babies.
Not really.
That's great.
Because
Yeah.
it's not
Wow.
my kid. It's not my
Right.
kid.
Right.
My baby was the one taken, not theirs. Like,
Mhm.
and I have like a lot of the moms that I talk to, because I have so many like lost moms that I've become friends with in the years, and a lot of them like really do struggle with that, and I feel blessed to not have that, and I know that that's a real thing, because I see it,
Mhm.
like feeling the envy and the like, why do these people that are just on heroin get to keep their baby and their baby's fine when mine gets taken? Like I see that all the time, and like I just I didn't have that. Like I think we all have our own stories and kind of have to build up on it, and I found kind of my thing to kind of pull through, which is like even during COVID, like a lot of hospitals dropped all their photographers. And that was when a lot of them started just calling me because they knew I did it and could like do right for those moms and those babies of
Oh, I see.
photographing.
Yeah. Contract you out just for
Um,
individual
yeah.
situations.
So
Yeah.
not even contracted out, it was just volunteer.
Oh,
Like
oh,
literally, yeah, I don't get paid anything.
what?
Yeah, yeah. I just do it to do it.
Uh, uh, I
Yeah.
guess we never really talked about that aspect. I, that's okay. Hold on. Let me collect. Okay. Because, well, first of all, you're an absolute saint. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful that you can kind of honor your baby and help so many others, because as you know, photos
Are
these
important.
are the
They're so
only
important.
things we have. They're so
Yeah.
important. But why do our hospitals not valuing you like we do? That's my question.
I don't know. And literally for me, like for when COVID happened and all these TARPers got pulled out, I
Mhm.
had hospitals calling, I had birth center calling me, asking me to photograph these babies, because like it's kind of a specialty to
It
be
is.
able to walk in that room and do that. Not everyone has that ability.
Well,
So
yeah.
like they would call me and I would just drop whatever and go do it because I knew it was needed. I wasn't asking for money for it. I don't really, I think if I had a contract to do other photo things
Well, are
for
you
the
paid for
hospital,
living babies?
um, I mean, through my own business, yes. And through the Bella stuff, yes. Through the hospital contracts with that hospital photography company, I would
That's
be.
that's
But but I
yeah, I
I
think
actually
that's where I'm
mostly
at.
just manage for them right now. I don't
I
actually
see.
photograph.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah.
So I think where I'm kind of at in all of this is that I wish that my
Hmm.
hospital had
Had
said,
that.
had a
You need
photographer,
this.
you
You
need
are going,
this.
yeah.
Don't look at them if you never want to, but at least they're here if you want them. And
Hmm.
not only are the photos very much needed, you also edit. And this is something
Hmm.
that nobody talks about, especially in the stillbirth community, because
Yeah.
if a baby dies in the womb and has been there for over 24 hours before they're
Yeah.
born,
They have skin tears and
skin things happen to the baby. Their skin
hmm.
color, they tear. Bless my son, he had a little tearing.
Yeah. They're
And
literally in water. They're in like the amniotic fluid is
yeah,
water. Like a body in water when it's not living, it's going to have like abnormalities.
so you also, I mean, you have to stomach that. And
Hmm.
we don't talk about us holding our babies,
Hmm.
trying to memorize their features, but looking at them, they don't look like they're our babies. It's the
Yeah.
most horrendous part of the whole thing.
Like literally a day before, they would have looked whole and beautiful. And because they were in water for that long, and like even like some births, like you have forceps and stuff, and that just makes it worse.
That's I've seen complete skin tears from the neck down. I've seen
Hmm. Oh,
you
you've looked at them?
yeah, my beautiful friends have shared the unedited versions
Oh,
with me because I love their babies anyway, but
yeah.
it's such a like To share the unedited with somebody is like literally sharing a piece of your soul with somebody, because we don't put the unedited ones out there out of respect for our babies. So floating around social media and framed in our homes and on our phone screens are these beautiful, angelic, touched up photos of what our baby would look like if they didn't die in utero. And that is what we show the world. And they look angelic and peaceful and sleeping, when the actual reality is they are horrific looking. They are what nightmares are made of, some of them, on top of grieving the death. It's looking at this baby. So you and your giant heart also edit these photos, which I know is so hard to do.
Yeah, it's I would say I was able to separate easier before my own loss. And then now it's a lot harder, but it's more important to me to do it. It's, I don't know, I struggle. I have anxiety. I think all of us do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, girl. If you didn't, I'd be worried at this point.
I listened to like I was trying to listen today, like while I was working and editing other things. And I was like, you were talking about some of your therapy stuff. I was like, I should probably do that.
Yeah.
Like, why
honestly.
haven't I done that? Because I have so many things that lately I just like want to just stay home. I don't want to go anywhere and do anything. And then like I'll just start like getting like really shaky and nervous. And I don't know. Like you mentioned, like in one of yours about how a past person had to fix some like previous life trauma stuff too. And I was like, I probably need to do that too.
Well, what's crazy is that, well, not even crazy. I mean, not in the sense that people think the word crazy is, but you know, we are all a little bit, and we get that and we see that in each other, and we don't judge each other at all. But you know, what happens is we proceed to stay in the world of loss. We don't run from it. Well, most of us don't. You have chosen to turn your pain into purpose. You had chosen to almost surround yourself with it. What happens, I think, is sometimes we can't help but take it to sleep with us at night, and we can't help but think about it throughout the day. And what ends up happening is when we start to dissect why we're having anxiety, why are we having these feelings out of nowhere, it's uprooting deeper issues and deeper trauma that we have kind of stuffed away, because we're like, oh, it's because our baby died, that's why we feel this way, when there's actually probably some other things going on. That, I mean, I was thinking about the other day, or actually I was talking to another lost mom earlier today, and we were just fired up about how our healthcare professionals failed us. And then I started thinking, and I was like, and it's like, wow, maybe I have underlying trauma from people who I trusted, who did me wrong.
I do not trust healthcare anymore at all.
What happened with you?
Even if I love my doctor, like my doctor, I love her. I don't trust. I've had like probably like an early miscarriage before. So I wasn't, and then I had like a healthy birth after. And so I got pregnant just 3 months postpartum with my son. Like we knew we wanted to go ahead and have another one and have them really close together. I was just like, let's just do the Irish twin way and just get them out of the way and just have it done. So we're just like, okay, let's just start. We have no idea how long it could take anyway, because I was breastfeeding and all of that. And so I got pregnant right away. But I had never had a period beforehand. So I was like, well, I have no idea how much pregnant I am. Let's just kind of make an appointment and see. And they couldn't get me in until like my estimation, which would have been about 16 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Is when they could finally fit me in their calendar. But I knew I wanted my doctor. I didn't want to go to anyone else. So I just was like, sure, that's fine. Like I have healthy pregnancies. I'm already kind of almost through the like miscarriage window anyway. Like I'm fine to wait. And then like literally the day before my appointment, I started spotting, and they sent me to I say the day before. It was the Friday before. My appointment was supposed to be on Monday or Tuesday, one of those days. But I started spotting, and I called my doctor's office, and I was just like, hey, this is weird. I'm not one of those that ever bleeds when I'm pregnant. I know that's common for some people, but I don't. And they were like, well, we're booked today. We don't have any openings. You'll need to go to the ER. And so I went to the ER. They did an ultrasound, and they came in and they're like, sorry, there's no heartbeat. You might be having a miscarriage. Might be. Like literally their words were, you might be. And I was like, but you should know because I'm pretty far along. Like you should be able to say yes or no. And they're like, you need to follow up with your provider. We can't tell you.
What?
Yes. And I was like, it's Friday evening. Like, what do you mean follow up with my provider? And they're like, yeah, call them on Monday and get an appointment.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw something. I want to throw something every single podcast episode.
Oh my gosh. It's
okay.
Ridiculous. So I just want to say, if you ever think you're having a miscarriage, just go up to L&D. Don't even go to the ER. That's my thing. Just skip it. I wish I had never gone to the ER. I literally work with those people in the L&D. I should have just gone up there. But I was like, they tell me I'm supposed to go to the ER, so I'll go to the ER. But if you walked up to the L&D, if you're like close to 20 weeks, they'll see you.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we don't know that at the time. We just don't know.
I do what I'm told.
Trusting these morons.
Yeah. But I went home. I actually worked the weekend because I had stuff booked. I couldn't cancel it. There was like a wedding I freaking photographed. It was, I literally like knew that I was having a miscarriage, and I just photographed a wedding. Can't believe I did that. But
that's that eerie wave of calm that a lot of us talk about.
Yeah.
It's like kind of knowing something's off, but then you kind of just robotically go through your day.
I went through my routine of work and stuff. And like Sunday, I think I went to church. And then Monday happened. I had my mother-in-law come over because I had to call and try to get an appointment. And my husband was like, well, I guess we don't really know what's going to happen. I should probably go to work because I'll probably have to take time off later. So he went to work, and Monday, my mother-in-law was here. I called every single doctor, OB office in like a 45-mile radius, and no one could get me in that day. They were like, if you really think something's worse and you can't wait till your provider can see you, go back to the ER. And while I was on the phone with one of the nurses, trying to see if she could fit me in somewhere for I went into labor, and I gave birth on the phone with the nurse, in my bathroom. But like it was less than an hour, and it was real labor, full on contractions, pushing, everything.
Were you by yourself?
My husband walked in the door right as I was pushing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Not knowing what was going on.
I like at that point I was like the nurse was like, you're in labor. And I was like, there's no way I couldn't sit in an ambulance for that. I couldn't sit in a car. I was like, I'm going to have to just do it in my bathroom. And then after I was done, she's like, okay, now that you've delivered, call your actual doctor's office back and speak to them to see if I need to go in and have an exam like at the hospital. And I called the doctor, and it was an on-call doctor because my physician was gone at a conference. And he's like, well, if you're not hemorrhaging and you've already delivered, you can just stay home.
Okay, hold on. Wait. So you're telling the story super calm, but at the time, what was going on with you? Were you like in a weird shock?
I think I was in shock.
Yeah.
I was in shock. My mother-in-law took my kids and took them to her house. right when my husband got home. I was like, I don't want to be alone. So I said, just wait till he gets here and then leave. And so she took them, like literally, like they passed in the doorway. And after I talked to him and he said, just stay, I laid down in bed and then I stood up and I just gushed blood like all over my entire bed, my everything, all the way to my bathroom. I hemorrhaged, like it was like so bad. And so I got rushed to the ER for hemorrhage. And then a different on-call doctor took over when I had gotten there. It was a woman. And I think that was around when it started to hit. Like I didn't know what to do with her. And like when I delivered my placenta, it was like bigger than my hand. It was like perfect. She wasn't perfect. Like it was obvious, like she'd been gone for a while.
Really? Oh my
Like
God.
I couldn't, like she actually was delivered in her amniotic sac and everything. I don't know. It was really cool in like the science sense, but
that's actually super rare, I've heard.
yeah, but it was like really cool in that sense. But once I opened it to look at her, it was like really morbid and awful. But like her placenta was perfect. Like I wish I had done like a stamp imprint of it. Like that's my regret, is that I didn't get that.
So what could have happened to go into what?
I did you talked to Jenica about like how she had her son cremated and the hospital stuff. So I wanted to know what happened. So I did send her in to get testing, and they automatically just do that after testing's done.
So what did they tell you?
She had trisomy 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty rare.
Did you know that before?
No, I didn't find that out till about 3 months after. But I wanted to hop back. Sorry. I'm sorry. And in the ER, the doctor walked in, and I think that's like around when it started to hit me, like that I literally just delivered a dead baby. And she walked in, and I like had just started crying. She's like, "Why are you crying? Like this is nature's way of like getting the genetically imperfect children
Oh my
out
God.
of the world."
I need her license. I need her name and address.
I filed a formal complaint after in the hospital cafeteria where I was working. She caught me and told me about they got the test results back and baby had trisomy 16. And I freaking immediately stomped my feet up the stairs and filed a complaint.
This person isn't even a human, much less a good doctor.
Oh my God.
I'm astonished.
She like retaliate, like she does not like me now. Like I still see her at work. She does not like me because I filed a complaint against her.
She could have at least been like, I'm sorry I handled it that way, and take notes.
No, I got pregnant again after my loss, and she saw me with my belly and she goes, "Oh, you're pregnant." I was like, "Yep." And she goes, "Oh, on purpose?" I was like, and that was in a room with like a patient. I literally I looked at the patient, then I looked at her, and then I just walked out the door.
Just when I think I've heard all the shitty things,
like,
this is topping it.
Like, why? How is she like paid to be a doctor when she can't be a person? I don't.
What hospital was this?
Piedmont Noonan.
Okay.
But I love everyone else there. Like she is literally just the only one. I literally will walk the other direction if I see her.
It's like I would love to say she just doesn't know, but it just sounds like she just doesn't
care. Ugh,
gross.
The other physicians, like the ones that I actually like see in that same practice, they like when they found out, they literally like came to me at work and just gave me the biggest hug and cried. And
that's how it should be.
Sweet. Yes.
Girl, you have had trauma, capital T.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had horrible medical care. You had, you delivered your own child.
Yeah.
You had horrible care after. Well, I'm glad that you had those kind ones, of course.
Yeah.
How did because you radiate light. Anybody who's met you, and if you're listening, well, Jenica will be listening, but she knows you just radiate such light, and you smile and you laugh. And how have you gotten to this point?
I don't know. I feel like I have like waves of, I got this and I'm ready to do for others like what should have been done for me. And then I have like moments where I'm like, I can't do anything. And I'm kind of in like one of those I can't do it moments right now in my life. So
and I think
don't know.
that is so
like
incredibly normal.
I was so nervous about today talking to you about it because I knew I would have to talk about it. And I was so nervous about it. But
oh God, girl,
I
I'm
don't
sorry. I mean, I hope it does help a little bit to get it out there, to just cry and let it off your chest, because I find that sometimes when we are afraid to go there with our minds, it starts to feel like we might just explode a little bit. Our chest gets really heavy. And honestly, you have been through so much. You are now finally, I think it's hitting you. Honestly, I think it's normal. I think it's so healthy for you to say, all right, this feels like shit right now. I need to take a little bit of a reflection on what's going on. Little internal look-see here. Because if you were just gallivanting into these hospital rooms to take pictures of these babies and not feeling a thing, then I would be worried about you.
Oh,
you know?
For sure. That's what I like I train photographers now. That's what I do. And like when I'm training them on this loss stuff, like I'm just like, it's going to be hard and it should be hard. And whenever they come out, like they should struggle. Like that should not be something they should easily be able to just go do. Like I would be worried if someone could just walk in a room and photograph like a baby that's passed away without having any kind of like emotional response. So like I
feel that this is, did it ever feel like it was helping your recovery or healing journey, or do you feel that it's been a little detrimental?
I'm 100% sure it's healing. Like finding purpose through our loss, I think is like what keeps us going. Like otherwise I think I would just stay locked in my house all day and I would be a horrible mom to my other kids. Cause like
that's true.
I don't like I have to have a purpose. And like obviously I wish I just had my daughter. Like even if she was deformed and had 3 heads, I would still have her.
Absolutely.
But like I just I do struggle a lot with doing this all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's holding me back in my grief. I think it's keeping it present so I remember what that was like for me so I can see and be that for somebody else.
How frequent are you going in? Are we having that many still?
It's a lot. Bigger hospitals have more.
I mean, a lot. I know North Side, Sandy Springs, I think is hospital number 2 in the country for baby deliveries. I mean, they've called it the baby factory.
Yeah.
And I think that's detrimental because they treat you just like a number, but
yeah.
They have, I don't know how many practices are connected, but I know my practice has like, well, old practice. I think I want to say something like 5 a month, but I think that can't be right. I think there's way more than that because there was somebody
Were they
on
only
my
delivering
floor.
at one hospital?
No, no, actually, no, they're all over. There's like 4 different ones that are connected to my old OB, who I fired. You know, there's one thing to be absolutely an asshole like yours,
Yeah.
There's also another style of doctor, which is an indifference. It's more like they don't waver, jerk, or nice in any way. It's
They're
just very
just so
factual.
monotone and
Yeah. Very, very
yeah.
factual base, very black and white, you know, and then you have those that are just kind of like aloof, like, what do you mean this is bad? You know, and it's like, oh God, you know,
Yeah.
and I was talking to a friend of mine. She's something wildly different. She's not an OB. She studied though, and just
Mm-hmm.
ended up going a different route with her medical degree. But she said that at no point in med school did they have any coaching or studying on grief and how to
What?
handle loss.
What? But
Which I thought was
every
so wild.
single like physician, like part, like every single doctor type would have to go through that.
That's what exactly. And
Like,
but even more so for OBs, one in
yeah.
4 women are a miscarriage, have a miscarriage, and then one
Yeah.
in 160 of a stillbirth. It's like you're at some point gonna have to deal with this, doc.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Wow. That's
So
awful.
so tell me, how has your coping been? I know that you are very busy and with all your
Yeah.
beautiful children. How has your coping been since Daphne?
Um, I don't, I, I have good and bad days like
Yeah.
everybody. Like there's still always one missing.
Mhm.
Um, there's like we'll just be playing outside and I'll like have my like count of all my kids and then I'll just like always feel like I was supposed to count another one, like
Yeah.
always.
Mhm.
We carry her Molly bear around with us a lot. Um, and then I don't, it's like those, I never realized how like it would go, like, like the grief grows with your kid. So
Mhm.
like when she was like, if I had had her as a baby, like that first year, like walking past the infant girls section in a store, I would just cry the whole way past it. And my daughter, like she's had a hard time too. She's 12. She was 9 or 10 when I lost Daphne, one of those. But
So does she remember it?
yes, she remembers it, and she's the same way. Like walk through the little girls' toys or anything like that, she'll lose it. Um, and then like now it's like if I go, like I have a friend that has like a 3-year-old girl, and we went to her birthday party, and just watching her open her gifts and stuff, I had to walk away. But
Yeah.
I just like it's like the ages that it's like grown with where she would be.
Mhm.
So now it's like seeing like the stuff that she would be playing with, that kind of stuff. That's what gets me.
That's
But
interesting. Yeah, I've always wondered about that because Brody would be 10 and a half, but for some
months.
reason, yeah, 10 and a half months. And for some reason, I still have an issue with newborns,
Yeah.
but I do recognize when I see a baby that it is probably around the same age as Brody. And
Hmm.
I'm always wondering because I heard that in your mind, there'll always be a baby. There'll
Oh,
always be
really?
an infant. So what happens is all your kid, you'll have another child after loss, and that child will grow up, and then you have another, and that one will grow up, or how many you have, but
Hmm.
that one will always stay a baby. And that's why it just gets so heavy because you'll miss
Around
that
babies.
infant. Yeah, yeah. And they will always be that. And then so you have that like baby itch all the time. You're like, oh, I have
Yeah.
baby. It's like that one is still in your brain that will never grow up. I don't know. That's interesting to see that to hear that
I don't
your
have
grief
that.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, everyone's
Maybe
different,
it's
obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Just
yeah. Maybe it's because
interesting.
I'm around babies literally all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You want yours grows up. Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you
I
doing this daily?
photographing stillbirth.
Yeah.
Not daily, no.
Okay. Okay.
Um, like they're like as like these hospitals are open back up, they have their contract photographers back. I haven't been doing it as much. Um, but like I still manage the photographers that do them. And
Okay. I see.
the birth center still calls sometimes. But no, I don't do them all that much now, but I know there are a lot because I do like call the mothers after the photographer's done with the pictures to make sure they're prepared to receive them. Like I don't want them to just get them and not know they're coming.
That is so key. Do you even know? Okay, first of all, at Northside, they're using a tiny Nikon, and you edited Brody's photos, so you knew how terrible the quality was, right?
They weren't in focus. They were grainy.
So then they put them all on a flash drive, and they just handed us the flash drive. And I was like, I'm not ready to look at his photos yet. So I gave them to my sister, and she looked. Faryl, they were like, my sister described them as like autopsy photos. They were horrible, and there was no warning. There was no like, hey, maybe you should not look at this folder, but here's a nice folder. Like I would have been traumatized. And I don't understand the disregard for that. And so I like that you reach out and you warn them like, hey, I'm going to send them, don't just open them up when you're in the middle of your work day,
Right.
And I think one thing though, like I said before, and I may get emotional talking about this. I didn't look at Brody's photos. I had a couple of them that were like side angles, like that were really lovely, but I knew that they were pretty rough. And when we were getting ready for his event that we threw, and you and your husband were so lovely, I'm so happy you made it. I really wanted to display him, and I didn't know you, and I had sent his photos away, or I told my husband, I was like, please try to do something here because I need to look at him. And he sent them to 4 people.
Oh my gosh.
There was some that came back that I was like, I can't even look at these. They were like so crazy looking, and I was having nightmares about them. And so I remember Jenica had said that you edited those, and hers were beautiful. And so last minute I was like, let's just message Faryl to see if she has the time. And when I tell you, when I first saw the photo of my baby and what he would look like if he did not die, it was the most incredible thing in the entire world.
You're gonna make me cry.
And I didn't know how to just thank you for that. And I know you have a lot of mothers probably crying and thanking you, but I love my baby just as he is, of course, and how he looked when he was born. But there's something about seeing their face and what they would look like if they did not die. And like,
I know.
And a lot of us, I want people listening to know there's no shame in displaying either one. There's no shame in having photos edited. It is a respect thing. It's whatever makes your heart happy. It's however you want to display your son, your daughter, your child, whatever. And so if you need editing, get it done. If you want to display it as it is, don't be afraid of people's reactions and people's judgment. It's your baby and however you want to. But I will say it was so special that you did that. And I look at it every day. It's on my phone. It's framed in my house probably 6 times. I take it everywhere. And it's just so special to have that because I look at him and that's what my baby looks like in my mind, And so people like you are so special.
Yeah. Your baby is like, it's what your baby should have been without the trauma of being born.
Yeah. And
that's all it was.
Exactly. And
like there shouldn't be any
stigma,
like there shouldn't be a stigma of editing your baby's pictures.
No. And honestly,
like
the fact that he did have such severe skin peeling, it's a testament to why I was so angry that I didn't know what to look for. And I didn't know when he passed. And it's just a reminder of how if I had just followed my instincts better, if I had just said more or did more or went straight to the hospital, then he wouldn't look like that when he was born. Maybe he would have still passed, but I would have gotten him out sooner, And then what happens is they sit without being chilled.
Cooled. Yeah.
And they start to decay before your very eyes. And it's pretty rough. And it's just a reminder of how horrific the day was. So I have no shame in editing, and I still have the originals. And you're right, there's absolute no shame in doing whatever you want to do with those photos. So I thank you for doing that. And Honestly, girl, you could have a career just editing. And I know that's probably even harder, but nobody can do it. Nobody knows how. And it's such a tricky thing, man. This is such a weird
It's
world.
it's literally just finding the people in the world that have the heart to do it, because that is something that it does take from the person editing to do it, because it
Yeah.
is hard. It's hard to look at that. Like it's like 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 you want to see newborns as beautiful, perfect babies, and they're not all born like that. And like when I like some of the rooms I walk into, it's like you have to watch your facial reaction, like when you see their baby like decayed and stuff. Like you have to be the person that kind of guides them through like what they should be doing. Like I have to guide moms and dads just to hold their babies. A lot of times they're not told to hold their baby like
Oh,
after their
so
baby's
you're
born.
doing that. You're getting
A
involved in
lot of
saying,
it,
oh
yeah.
wow.
Like a
Oh
lot of
wow.
it, like a lot of parents are so afraid just to touch their baby, and they're like unless they have like an awesome nurse or doula that has been through it before and knows to tell them like hold your baby, like a lot of people won't hold their baby. Like
Wow.
there's a lot of people that don't want to see, touch, hold, and it's like a cultural thing too. Some
Right.
cultures, um, if your baby is passes away, like they just the nurses take it, they never see it. Like there's a lot of cultures that won't look at their baby ever.
Wow. Oh wow. Do
Um,
you get any information before you come into the room? Like, do you know gestational age, what happened, what the status
some
is?
sometimes. It kind of depends on the person relaying the information. Some are relaying it to me and they don't even know.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll be told what to expect when I walk in.
Yeah.
Um, I just like there are a few that like have just stuck with me forever, and like just it'll just pop in my mind sometimes. And usually like when they like pop into my head, I like send them a text or something, just checking on them because
Yeah.
it's usually I feel like it's for a reason if I'm thinking about them. So, but I really want to get into more of the doula side um, for stillbirth. Like I really want to be more than just a photographer, because I think that's definitely needed as someone guiding people through what to do.
So needed, especially from a lost mom.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's
Are
and
you
because
studying?
I've just seen. I have not like finished anything.
That's
I've
okay. This
started
takes time.
I've started a couple different programs, and then like they weren't the right one. Oh, it's hard to find something specific for stillbirth and trauma birth and that kind of stuff, because like stillbirth is, I think, always a trauma birth, and
Yeah.
like a lot of the doula programs are more generic.
Oh, so you're saying there's not a specific doula program that's meant for stillbirth
For
mothers or late term
yeah,
lost moms? Okay.
yeah, that's
Well,
more of what I've been looking for, is something specific. I found one in like Philadelphia, but I haven't.
well, have you talked to
Obviously, it's far
Jenica
away.
about this? She started
Yeah, I
one.
know she's doing one, and hers
Okay.
is like trauma. It's all trauma based too, and I've looked into that one a little bit, but I just I I haven't done that one, so maybe
Well,
I'll do that one.
maybe anybody listening knows of a program that is more based on that. I mean, that's so
Yeah,
wild that there's no God, like there's no specifics. I mean, I get it though. Like even in
yeah,
therapy and counseling, there's really nothing from lost moms that can help people because it just seems so wildly different.
yeah.
This kind of grief is just in its own category,
It is,
out
and
of order grief.
yeah, and I know my birth is more miscarriage than stillbirth, but I feel like I've still like even I still feel like I've experienced it from my own plus of what I've witnessed. Like being a witness to others experiencing stillbirth, I think has kind of opened me up to feeling it. I'm a very empathetic person, and like I always feel things, and I just have always been that way. Just like if someone else is crying, I'll cry. If someone else is like that kind of, I
your
don't
loss
know.
is horrific and traumatic, and it's a loss. It's the future that you aren't going to have.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still horrible.
Yeah.
And you are owed that, for people to recognize that, and you not apologize at all for how you feel about it. So I love that you're going to go into doula training as soon as you have the time.
Yeah. That's, it's like, it's one of those things that's like on my like need to list, but
I love that. And
it'll be
honestly, it'll tell you when it's ready,
when it's
because
ready.
yeah, because you're starting
I,
to feel like you're burning out from this, I feel like,
yeah.
and I think it's time for the next step. And
Mhm.
one day you just will be like, I'm done here. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
think that's what I need, is like a push. And
Yeah.
I usually, that's kind of what gets me doing anything, is like a push. Like I'll usually just feel it. Just like, oh, like, okay, right now. Okay.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So that's the future for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your hope for anybody listening to this, to their takeaway from this?
Be the person that shows up. That would be my thing, is if, like, most of the people listening probably have experienced loss, right? And you're going to have someone that lines up in your life that's experiencing it and on the new side of it, and just kind of fresh. Just be the person that shows up, because there's so many people that just don't. All the people we thought would be there, they're not there, you know?
Yeah. Did you have
Like,
that experience?
yeah, like it's like you talked about how people don't recognize like your baby on holidays and stuff, and don't mention it. And they really don't. They don't mention it unless I mention it. And I mention it all the time.
Look, and I talked to Jenica about this, because people were like, how is your Thanksgiving going? And you can't help but say, it's hard. I wish Brody was here. It sucks because they're part of us. If we don't mention them, first of all, what kind of mother are we? And we're not doing it as like a Debbie Downer. We're doing it because we miss our babies. Like, it's that simple. And no one really does say their name. And I think I did say this recently. It was like, hey, people have this big fear. I'm so afraid people are going to forget my baby. I'm like, guess what? They will. They move on with their lives. We stand still. And if we don't talk about them, nobody else will.
Yeah. I'm not really close with my family. Lots of trauma there. But I'm not really close with my family. And they weren't really present for that and through that. And like, I've kind of set very, like, I feel like it woke me up going through my loss and not having the support I think I was owed. I kind of have like way higher boundaries set than I ever have in my life.
Good for you.
But like my in-laws, they are great and they helped and everything, but they don't want to talk about anything sad. Like my mother-in-law lost her mom. We're not allowed to talk about it. Like in this last year, like we aren't allowed to bring it up. And I'm just like, why not? Like I would like, I want to talk about Daphne. Like I want to talk about like what she would be doing now, and like how she would be, what I think she would be like. And like, no, like they don't talk about anything, and that stuff, like that hurts. So I'm just like, I want, like, if there's a list of grandchildren, Daphne should be on it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's so hard.
And but I kind of understand, like that's a generational thing. That's what they were brought up with. And we are the generation that is like, let's talk about all of it and get it out and like work through it. And that's more of me, is like, I just want to have it all out there. I don't really do small talk, and it's just all usually just right down to the hard stuff. But
Amen, sister.
I'd rather sit in silence than talk about nothing that means anything. Like
so painful. And are you like exhausted after small talk?
So exhausted. But I also get exhausted from like this, like talking about the real stuff. I get mentally drained, and like me and Jenica met for like a breakfast or something, and we've just been talking about Jenica. She's like so cute.
She has a podcast episode if you haven't listened yet. Yeah, she's the best.
But I met her, and like it was such a good visit, and I just left like, I'm so glad I went. I'm so glad I did it. And then I went home and like laid on my couch the rest of the day.
It's so true.
Do anything.
Yeah, it's almost like an adrenaline. It's like you feel like so pumped. You talk for hours. We had breakfast last week, and it was basically like I had this adrenaline rush after 3.5 hours, and then I did. I came home and I crashed.
Yeah,
it's definitely draining. It's a lot of emotions and things we probably haven't said or talked about or thought about in a long time. And I will be honest with you, I've immersed myself in this world. And at the end of the day, I am tired too. I just crash. I want to watch trash TV, and I want to drink some tea and go to bed. Like that's it. This is our life. And I admire you for throwing yourself into it, because you want to do good for other people, because you didn't have that, and you want to honor Daphne.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing too.
To do. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard.
It's like the hardest thing, but like the best thing I think I could be doing. Yeah. Like if I wasn't striving to do for others, I would just wallow in grief.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, that's the only way to pull ourselves through, is to pick ourselves up and find a place to be useful.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that. So many of us in this community, and especially in the grief community, are like, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit, you can just be sad. You don't have to do anything. You can do the smallest thing. And I'm like you can for a second, but if you stay in that, you're stuck in it. So true.
Like you just get stuck, and you have to keep pulling yourself out. You're the only one that can. No one else can pull you out.
So true, girl. Yes. Yeah. Well, you are such a light, and thank you for doing this. I am sorry you were nervous, but you did wonderfully. I'm so proud of you.
I get nervous on anything. I like just one-on-one, person to person, and I know this is one-on-one, but it's not.
Was it the earphones too much? You're wearing earphones?
I think this made me nervous. The earphones made me nervous. I don't know.
Good. No, well then we'll do this without recording. We'll get the girls here in Atlanta and get together. That'd be great.
It's a weird way to find your people, isn't it?
So true. Jesus. Sometimes I look around, I'm like, I love you guys. And I'm like, oh shit, I met you because our babies died. Like how dark.
I told Jenica that, like I went after your thing that we went, the Raised by Angels thing. I told her, I was like, I'm so glad I met you, but I'm so sorry I met you.
Yes. Yes. That's so perfectly said. Oh, it's so true. And we're all such close friends. And it's like, I never would have met you, but I wish I never met you. Yeah. It's so weird. Yeah.
It's a weird feeling to have. But it is what it is. Like this is where we are, and we have to make the best of it.
So true.
And we are the only ones that understand.
It is true. It is true.
Like no one else
so
understands.
Much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. Really.
Thank you.
Your message is so wonderful.
I hope so.
Yeah, girl. And I know you have the chicken to go eat and go be with your family.
I don't know. It doesn't really smell like he cooked. I don't know. I wonder if he ordered pizza.
It sounds like he probably did. Mom's busy. Got to get the pizza.
I don't know.
Well, thank you so much again, girl.
Yeah, I want to get together.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Ooh, a lot of information, guys, and I hope that something in there helped you in this journey in life after loss. Make sure you stick around. We have more episodes coming up next, and make sure that you hit subscribe to show your support. Here for you always, mamas, and until I see you again, take care of yourselves.